talk to Gage.
This is a video I've been wanting to make for a while now, where I talk about two of my favorite movies ever. Both these movies are in my top 10 of all time when it comes to movies, and there's something that they both have in common. So the movies I'm talking about are Jurassic Park and Fantastic Mr. Fox. So by the title of this video, y'all can probably get an idea at least of where I'm going with this. But these two movies have meant a lot to me, and I call them my cinematic awakening. And the reason why I do that is because they were two movies that came in at a certain time in my life, at two different times, but very specific, that really showed me what movies could be. The first one was Jurassic Park. I grew up watching that. I was like 5 years old when I first watched that movie. I watched it with my dad, and it's a really fond memory I have growing up. But that was the first movie I ever watched that was like really scary, and I don't think it was really that gory. Not the book was, but not the Speilberg version. But like, it was just darker, and it was more mature, more grown up, and the spectacle of seeing these dinosaurs on screen. They used animatronic puppets for the bits where they didn't use CGI, but even the CGI looks amazing even today. And that movie just blew my mind. It instantly became like my favorite movie I'd ever seen, and it got me excited about films. I remember being a kid and just going through my parents' closet, just looking at all these movies and trying to find the ones that had like big creatures on them, because those were the movies that I thought would be like Jurassic Park. None of them ended up being anywhere near as good as Jurassic Park. No matter how many I watched, Jurassic Park will always be just an amazing movie, and probably the best dinosaur movie ever made, and I've seen a lot of them. So yeah, that was kind of like my first cinematic awakening. And I wouldn't have another experience quite like that for many, many years. Probably like 10, 12, maybe even 15, about 15. Actually, I think it would be about 15 years. 14, or actually, I think it was 14 years when I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox for the first time. And truly, this is the movie that I think is slightly more important in my film journey, as far as someone who enjoys watching movies, talking about them. I love to geek out over movies with my brothers, and it's just become a really big passion for me. And I owe all of that to the movie Fantastic Mr. Fox, directed by Wes Anderson. This movie, it was just one that on a whim I decided to watch it. I remember seeing commercials for it growing up, but stop motion was not my thing when I was a kid. It kind of freaked me out and looked kind of weird. But I decided, hey, I'm gonna give it a watch, see what I think of it. And I probably have watched this movie like almost 10 times, not even joking, like probably like 8 or 9 times in the past year. And I only watched it like a year or two ago. Like, it is insane the impact this movie's had on me and how I see movies. Because you have to remember, for so many years, all I really saw movies as is just spectacle, right? That's all it is. It's just entertainment for the hour or two that you're sitting there in the theater or at home watching the movie, and that's about it. The type of movies I grew up watching were generally those types of movies, or at least even if they were deeper films with more complex characters or writing or themes, I just didn't pick up on them. I didn't view them and enjoy them in that way. I just saw the surface level spectacle of it and kind of moved on with my life. This was the first movie in my cinematic journey. This was a cinematic awakening movie for me, because it was a movie that showed me, wait a minute, there's more to movies than just the big CGI, the big creatures on screen, the big spectacle of it all, which is entertaining, yes, but Fantastic Mr. Fox is a movie about people. Which is weird, because it's literally has a bunch of animals, anthropomorphic animals in it, but I mean that. It's really a very human movie about identity and what that means as you grow up, and as you change, your identity kind of shifts alongside of you. And that's powerful. I really like that. The scene that really opened my eyes to this, it's probably like one of the coolest scenes in any movie I've ever seen, is the scene at the end. Minor spoilers, by the way. If you intend on watching this movie, please go do so. But at the end of the movie, there's the scene where they see the wolf out in the distance, and Fox starts like trying to communicate with it and talking to it. And then they both lift up their arms, and that was the type of scene that you have to sit down and watch it to really understand like what I experienced and what I felt like watching that. But it felt surreal. I was like, hold up. I was like, what is this about? Why is this scene in here? It makes no sense. Like, right? It's just like thrown in there. But that was the old kind of like perspective I went into movies with. This was a movie that opened my eyes to what films could be, and it's really led me on this journey of, this sounds so crazy because it's really just like a pastime, something, a hobby, something I enjoy, but it's really led me on this journey of seeking out more movies like it, more movies with, you know, deep thematic characters and thematic stories, and things that really resonate and sort of give me a new perspective to consider. To where I've been collecting a lot of movies on Blu-ray and even the 4Ks lately, and I owe it all to Fantastic Mr. Fox, and this is why this is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time, because while Jurassic Park is an amazing movie, and actually there's a little more depth to that film upon rewatches later in life, that movie is amazing with its spectacle and the magic that Steven Spielberg put into it. But Fantastic Mr. Fox was a movie that had so much more depth in its storytelling and its characters and writing. It felt like something I could relate to and that I was really resonating with. And it showed me that movies could be more than just entertainment. They could be they could be works of art that challenge or change our minds, change who we are. They can inspire us. They can encourage us. They can deter us from certain things. They can encourage us towards other things, you know. And now I've watched some of the best movies I've seen in my entire life in the past year, past few months, and I owe it all to Fantastic Mr. Fox. So yeah, anyways, that's about it.